Hey boys and girls, Mr. Macaulay here. Here's a quick presentation on equivalent fractions. So what are equivalent fractions? Equivalent fractions are two fractions that have the same value, but they could have a combination of different numbers, but they mean the same thing. Let's use an example. Let's pretend your mom has this pizza. Hey, it happens to be a 16-sided pizza. Just go with it. And you and your brothers and sisters are going to eat 2/4 of the pizza, and your mom and dad are going to eat the rest. Let's take a look at what that means, 2/4. So if we circle the denominator, 4, that means that the pizza was cut up into 4 pieces. As you can see here, 4 pieces ready to be eaten. Now, if we look at the numerator and we see it's a 2, that means you're going to get to eat two. Um, you and your brothers and sisters are going to have 2 slices from the pizza. Hope you guys can share. So another way of looking at that is you guys can eat this part of the pizza from one red line to the other red line. That's the part you get to eat. And if I was coloring in as best I can, this is kind of what that would look like. You guys will eat all that amount, all that area will be yours to eat. Let's take a look at that fraction. And let's try to think of a fraction that means the same thing. It's equivalent, but it might have different numbers in it. It might mean something else is happening, but ultimately it's got the same value. If you want to make an equivalent fraction, you can use some operations to help you. For example, you can use multiplying or dividing, but you cannot use adding or subtracting. To make an equivalent fraction, you could perhaps multiply the top and the bottom. For example, if you multiply the top and the bottom by 2, if you're going to do this, you need to make sure you're doing the top and the bottom exactly the same. So we'll multiply both by 2. We'll just double them. We'll end up with 4 over 8. So let's take a look what 4 over 8 looks like on the pizza. So here's that pizza. It's cut up into 8 pieces this time. And you get to eat 4 of those with your brothers and sisters. And again, if I try to illustrate how much that is, you get to eat from this line over to that line. It's kind of the same as before. And you can look at the orange was colored in the same. So 2/4, our original number, is the same as 4 over 8. We can even keep going with this concept. If I want to do another equivalent fraction, I could double it again. What would that look like? This time it would look like 8 over 16. So again, 16 tells me the pizza was cut up into 16 pieces. And I and my brother, or you and your brother and sisters get to eat 8. And again, if I color in what that amount is, it will be the same as before. So what we've really shown is that 2 over 4, our original number, is the same as 4 over 8, is the same as 8 over 16. Now I used a simple doubling this time, but you could even multiply by 3 or 4 or other numbers too. But doubling, I think, is usually the easiest. Let's move backwards a little bit. Let's go back to our original amount, which was 2 over 4. And we used multiplying before, but you could even, for some of the numbers, you could even use division and make the numbers smaller. Now, both of these numbers are even. So if I decided to divide instead of multiplying, if I divide them both by 2, that instead of doubling, I'm cutting them in half, I would end up with, of course, 1 over 2, which is, of course, a half. So if I look at my pizzas, you can see that the denominator is 2, so I cut it into 2 pieces. And you and your brothers and sisters get to have this one huge piece. And again, if I charted out what it looks like, it would still be the same amount of pizza from that line to that line. And if I colored it in, you know it would look like this. So to sum up now, what did we show here today? We showed that if you had 2 over 4 of a pizza, it's the same value as 4 over 8. It's the same value as 8 over 16. It's the same value as 1 over 2, which is a half. So equivalent fractions, they are, of course, fractions that have the same value. There you go, boys and girls. I hope you really have a good idea about how to work with equivalent fractions. See you later.